And we are back. I'm Skip Murphy, co-host of GrokTV, an operation by GraniteGrok.com, New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site. And we are happy now to have Adam Nicholson. Yeah, Nicholson. Sorry, I haven't had enough Mountain Dew yet.
I haven't had enough coffee yet.
Yeah, you need to come a little bit closer to the mic. Now say something.
Can you hear me now?
No, actually, you couldn't.
Coming through clear now?
Yeah.
All right.
Much better. Let's turn this around just a little bit more. So, you are AFP's representative down here on Radio Row, and you have to put up with the likes of me, making ad hoc queries. Where am I supposed to go? You're doing guest wrangling and all of that. So, are you tired yet?
No, it's a fun job. I enjoy working with you guys. It's a pleasure to have you all here. I see my job with AFP in its broader sense is trying to help you guys get the message out about the importance of downsizing our federal government, restoring economic freedom. Y'all have the message, but we have tools that we can provide to you. We have speakers, we have information and research, and we want to make sure that you all have access to that and to those people as you're trying to drive the debate in favor of the policies we favor.
Certainly Radio Row is something that you guys have been providing for a while now. It started off as the Bloggers Lounge, the first Right Online, where bloggers like I, state-level bloggers, some national bloggers, would just gather and talk shop and swap stories and put out posts.
Sure.
And then you started to have the radio posts. And every single time I come to one of these, it gets larger and larger and larger. The first time GraniteGrok was allowed to be on Radio Row, I think there were 8 booths. Now this year you have how many?
We have 15 booths.
And what is the purpose of providing the Radio Row as far as AFP is concerned? I know certainly it allows some of these folks who don't travel all that much to do remotes to get out and around. Although I was talking to a couple of folks who constantly travel, like Tony Katz and Fingers Malloy. And they're waking up in the hotels going, okay, I know I'm in a hotel, but I have no clue what city I'm in. So what is the advantage to AFP?
Well, honestly, just not to belabor the point, but again, we want to help you guys make the case for economic freedom, for limited government, and y'all are already doing that in your various fields through your shows. But we want to provide more access for you to great speakers like the ones we've had here at the conference. We want to put you in touch with our people, make sure that the things we're doing, that we're talking with, having a conversation together about the policies that are being debated in Congress and our state legislatures, and how we can educate citizens and help them understand what's going on.
Don, any questions?
No, this is the first time I've participated, so.
Okay. Well, I certainly
But I have to tell you, I think these AFP conferences are wonderful, and I think to the extent to which the Radio Row can get the information out about what's going on here, the enthusiasm that these events really generate, and how they demonstrate the successes that we can have through our efforts. Because nobody wants to put out a lot of effort not have to be successful.
You mean government doesn't do that for us?
I think that these are really wonderful. And I'm very proud to myself support AFP and to be able to join the events. I think Corey Lewandowski, who's the head of New Hampshire, does a great job, and he's a great guy.
Well, I know Corey really appreciates you guys too. Our state directors regularly tell me, they depend on our bloggers and radio hosts and independent journalists in their states to help them reach their activists and the grassroots about what's happening.
Now, when you're not wrangling Radio Row at big events like this, are you normally a part of AFP? And face it, we all know that advocacy groups have a core set of employees, and they are employees, although they are very enthusiastic employees. But in big events, they'll bring on extra personnel to help out. Every time I walk around the Hilton in Washington, D.C. at this summit, I see the staff badges all over the place. But are you indeed a full-time AFP employee?
Yeah, no, actually everybody you've seen here with the staff badge is a full-time AFP employee.
Really?
Yeah. With a few exceptions of like our engineer here for Radio Row, but we didn't hire like anybody specially for this. We brought in a ton of staff though. We flew in a lot of our state staff. staff. We flew in a lot of our field coordinators. It's an all hands on deck affair because it's our big summit. We want to help all of our activists have as great an experience as possible, and I think we've had a great time so far this weekend. We've got a great morning session right now that's just started, and we'll be having some great speakers there. So yeah.
So where are you normally working? In which state? And what is your role?
So I'm a national office staffer. Our national offices are just across the river in Arlington, Virginia. I work as a state communications manager. We're in a communications department where we're trying to help our state directors and staffers, the principals of AFP, better reach our activists, better educate them, and better drive the debate in the media on our policies. So I do everything from writing press releases and op-eds and wrangling interviews during the day with our president and our state directors, help respond to press inquiries, all the basic duties of making sure that the media knows how to reach us and that we're getting our stuff out to them.
And so you're doing this at the national level. Long days, I take it, right now. As we get closer and closer to the election, AFP is certainly just from being advocates for free markets and limited government, actively helping out candidates who support it.
Oh, that's inaccurate, actually, Skip. I have to correct you on that one.
That's fine. At least it opens up another line of questioning.
Well, a few things. First, at the summit here today, actually, this is hosted by Americans for Prosperity Foundation. Probably should have clarified that right from the beginning. So, AFP Foundation is a C3 operation, and so when I say we're driving the debate, that really is what we're doing. We're trying to talk about the policies and talk about what their impact is and talk about why economic freedom matters. So we think this matters in America. We think that it's, there are party groups that are advocating for specific candidates, and those groups have their role. But at the Americans for Prosperity Foundation, we want to help Americans just understand what's at stake in these debates. They can vote however they want to later on, but they need to know what issues are at stake and how those matter and how those fit into a larger schema of what our Constitution means, of what limited government means, and how that affects their prosperity and freedom. So that's what our foundation does. We have a separate C4, Americans for Prosperity, and our C4 does not advocate for candidates. It advocates for legislation. Neither of our bodies do any kind of involvement. We don't coordinate with candidates. Our role is to talk about what politicians are doing. So we do ads about how a politician voted. We'll talk about what policies they favor. We want to make sure citizens know, but we don't advocate for or against any candidates.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected, which is something that my wife and kids do all the time.
No worries. It's a common misconception, but we got to make sure people understand what we're doing here.
And certainly you put a lot of emphasis. So you've been doing this is what, the sixth one?
6th annual Defending the American Dream Summit, that's right.
And how many people are actually here? I heard rumors that this is the second biggest Dream Summit that you've had.
I don't have hard numbers, actually, because that's not my department, so I'd have to get back to you on that one. Okay. I know we're approaching the multiple thousands, so.
Thousands?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we have somewhere close to 2,000. I don't know exactly where we are.
Okay. And Right Online is the bigger event. Last 2 years been held in.
Actually, Right Online is a more focused event. Right Online is just for bloggers and online citizen activists. So we're looking for citizen journalists, I should say. So that one's more targeted to people who want to learn how to set up a blog and how to use it to expose corruption at their city council and the halls of their state legislatures, who want to write about the issues that are affecting their state. We try to provide them the tools and some basic training. We've actually launched some really big blogs that way, or other people I should say have launched great blogs as a result of coming to Right Online and learning how it works.
Such as? Blow your horn.
I feel terrible, but I can't remember any names right now. No, I can get back to you on that one. There's multiple I know, but blogs. I do radio hosts. I do traditional media outreach. We have a whole different department that deals with blogs, and I've heard them talk about some of the blogs that got started, but I can't name them right now.
Well, I know that certainly, the guys at GraniteGrok rarely hear me talk about this, but I was selected as the 2011 Online Activist of the Year.
Oh, well, that's excellent.
And we learned through a lot of hard work and some dollars, more than I wish to admit to, so that we can blend the blogging, blend obviously the live streaming, the live audio is what I started off with. We do, now starting to get into investigative reporting. We're issuing right-to-know requests against government when we're finding things going on, such as finding state employees who were doing wartime, doing political commenting on websites. So we went out to the Department of IT and their employees, Department of Environmental Services, saying, here's your standard operating policies. How come you're not following?
I do remember that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was good work.
And so we're now starting a new one because of the Sustainable Communities Initiative that all of a sudden has been kind of launched. It's been under stealth mode, I think, by the federal government. So a bunch of zoning regulations being pushed by HUD, EPA, and DOIT at the federal level. DOT, excuse me. And it's sort of like, selectmen, local planning commissioners, why don't you sign this? We've got money to sign this. Oh, it's a non-binding agreement. Well, we've had some activists, some 9/12 activists, start going down, okay, what's next? What else happens? And they've gone 3 or 4 levels down. And they found out some of the histories of some of these towns that have said, oh, we signed this, and we don't want to do this anymore. And the feds go, you pull up now, we sue you.
Oh my goodness.
And it's the whole idea of urbanizing rural and suburbia. To push everybody into a central core, high-density living, mixed-use buildings. So basically, they're replicating miniature cities, and the idea is that if you live outside, you're going to get taxed for it. And if you have a car that's not like what they want you to have, we're going to tax you even more. Here, we've got public transportation. In rural New Hampshire, this isn't going to work well, but they're still trying to push this. And I'll give you a specific example. The tiny town of Brookfield, I think it's got 800 people. They're trying to push this. And an outside planner comes in and they say, okay, well, here's some ideas for you, and establish a town center. They don't have one. The planners, the planning commission said, get rid of that. We don't want it. Came back. I've had more discussions. He said, well, I'll incorporate that into the new one. And he did, but had a town center in it. And 8 times they told him to get rid of it. The 9th time they said, get out of here. They are very insistent. They are almost the immovable force. They come afterwards. And now with Stanley Kurtz's new book coming out that said, well, this is really the case of, you've seen the white flight out to the suburbia, now the blacks are going out, and the other minorities are going out to the suburbs. Well, this is a way to force all that tax money back into the inner cities. So, you know, there's multiple layers going on here. We found it happening in New Hampshire, so now we're starting to like to know the West as well. So
great work.
It's going to be hard stuff because we're like 5 years behind the curve, but it's undergoing through the whole nation. So you talk about free markets, and this is a big one. It isn't just the free markets. It's from us in the live free or die state. This is the radical progressivism at work to take away those freedoms. And I would love to be able to talk to somebody on your side. Now that I get the complete explanation, hey, I have no shutdown time until 3 o'clock. I can talk about this all day.
Sure.
But if you folks have some resources that you can find to help us out in the hinterlands, combat this, it's like the progressives had this stuff ready for years. They've been preparing it. Now we're in reaction. We're in full frontal assault. We're trying to push back. If we can get model zoning laws ready, if we could get some other tactics to throw sand into the earworks, anything like that where we can say we're going to slow them down. Because if Obama gets in for a second term, they are going to put this through. And it may be too late already. So as a communications agency, that's something that I know GraniteGrok, and you probably find a lot of other blogs, and I know that Ken Ivory, who was walking around here yesterday from the American Land Council, was a hot commodity here on Radio Row because of what he's talking about. This is going on all over. The more you guys can help us with this, with basic information as a tool, as you say, trying to help us, that would be gratefully received.
That's certainly an issue I think that we'd be interested in. I don't know how much we've been doing specifically on that, but I know a lot of our state chapters have been working on property rights initiatives related to some of these crazy regulations. So I think I'll put you in touch with some of our principals for sure.
I mean, right now we've started off against what's called the Water Sustainability Commission, where they're trying to, in New Hampshire, it's very much an idea of when you buy your property, you own the property and everything underneath it. Well, part of that's water. Most of us have private wells in New Hampshire. Well, they're trying to move the needle, this commission, to say, no, that's a community right. That's community property. And they're already shaping the battlefield. And we're calling them out. But there's a strong push by the left to say, no, that's a common. Like the old-fashioned New England, the commons. Well, I'm afraid that we're going to have a tragedy with the commons as well, the state takes over. So that's the kind of thing that we're starting to see at the grassroots level. So anything that you and some of your other allies like Heritage or Frankfurt Center or some of the other supporters that you have, it's going to be a big deal.
I appreciate that.
So, anyway, let me ask you this. Your take on what you do out here. Is there things that sometimes you can do to make your life easier?
I mean, the more often you're out there talking about the issues that we're working on, the more often you're doing your job. Really, I mean, we certainly appreciate whenever you want to bring on one of our speakers, one of our policy experts.
What are we not doing that you wish we would, but you have the civility to say?
You know, I honestly have no complaints against any of the radio hosts that I've dealt with. Y'all have been great. Whenever I ask, I say, hey, we've got an issue going on right now. We need to talk about this. You're always eager to bring on our guests. I have a great working relationship, I think, with the radio hosts that I get to know, and I'm glad that I've got to know you and a lot of other new people here this weekend through the radio row.
I guess I'm going to say the question or ask the question in a different way. You're a nexus point for a lot of issues that go on. What are some of the questions that you wish that we were asking about issues that we're not? What are some of the things that you see? We're isolated up in the upper northwest. What are some of the other things that you hear from some of the other states that are helping them with
I mean, frankly, there's, I think, some big things are going to happen with federal budget fights and this year, and there's need to educate citizens more about how the what's being described as a fiscal cliff, the big tax hike that's going to happen next year, is going to impact the average family, how it's going to hurt our economy. I think the more we can do to discuss those tax policies, to help people point them to the actual data on who's hit by those hikes, all the better. But all the radio hosts I know are talking about a lot of things a lot. These are things that come to mind that I'm working on right now. That as much as we can cover them, all the better.
And if somebody wanted to reach you and ask more questions that we haven't covered this time today, how would they get a hold of you personally, or should they get a hold of you or somebody else?
Sure. I'm happy to. Anybody wants to reach me, you can email me. It's anicholson@afphq.org. You can also just go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/fightback. That's our AFP.
I like that.
So yeah, feel free to contact us via Facebook or email me if you have specific questions. If you're trying to reach somebody with our company and want to work with us in some way. So
very good. Well, Adam, I want to say thank you very much. We certainly appreciate everything that AFP is doing. There's a lot going on. It's almost sometimes overwhelming too much to track. But I want to say thanks for bringing us down, allowing us to be here on Radio Row as not radio hosts, but just mere bloggers. It's been fun. We've had some good guests, and I look forward to see what's going to happen the rest of the day.
Skip, thank you so much for the time. It's been a pleasure.
Very good. Folks, I'm Skip, and GrokTV is an offering from GraniteGrok.com, New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, and I and my co-host Don Ewing will be back for a little bit of a break. But once again, Adam, thank you very much for spending time with Granite.
Thank you.
GrokTV.